All right. So should we start?
Yeah, we can. I
Great.
am all
Thank you.
good.
Hi everyone. This is Hamza, and we have Jitendra and Melissa here. Thank you so much for coming in, joining in for our architect panel again. So this is our second architect panel that we have. Both of I don't think that we need introduction, but let's just start with both of them, and then we're gonna round up with the questions. And I saw that many people have joining in, so um, I'll introduce you how you can ask your questions. So, Melissa, you start with just a little about yourself, and then we get started.
Sure. I'm Melissa Shepard. I live in Boston, Massachusetts. I have my own consulting company, Liz Tech Consulting. Also, the leader of the Boston Architect User Group. Also, the admin and founder of the Architect Ohana Slack group. Also, building an initiative called Scale Up Arcs for helping to train people that are underserved and underrepresented to become architects and even go on to try for CTA. What else? I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem since 2006, received a golden hoodie at the first architect keynote at Dreamforce last year. So, and I'm a CTA. So I think I forgot that part.
The most important part.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
great.
Yeah,
Yes, Jitendra.
I can go next. Yeah. So, hey everyone. Hey Hamza. Thanks for the opportunity. Awesome event, right? I really like the speaker sessions, right, and all the audience. Thank you to be here. My name is Jitendra Jha. Right now, I am in IBM associate partner. I have been ecosystem since 2008. I started my career in a J2ME when I was writing games and the programming and applications for the more Nokia mobile that time. I went from the normal path like becoming a developer, right, changing the technology, trying to find my place in the ecosystem, coming to the Salesforce, senior developer, tech lead, architect, and I have a blog. I've been Salesforce MVP system from the last 9 years. I have written a book. I have seen ecosystem changing a lot from the days of S control to VF to RR to LWC. Hopefully the Salesforce function, right? And who knows what, right? So exciting time. And I'm here to just have a conversation, whatever you would like to know about me. And yes, I am also a certified technical architect.
We worked on our CTAs together.
Yeah, yes.
Well, that's a great. I mean, that's a great intro for both of you. Um, I mean, I did ask the same question with the different CTAs having working in the Salesforce ecosystem, but it's good to know. I mean, it's gonna be great to know how your day look like. I mean, as your old consultancy as a partner, how do you work on a daily basis? How do you spend work? How do you spend most of the time at? Um, yeah. So, Melissa first.
Well, my day is going to look a lot different than Jitendra's because I'm independent and I am building up my own consultancy. So for me, I've been doing a lot of traveling and speaking at events mostly because now I have free time and I want to get out there and help evangelize architecture, not just CTA, but architecture in general. So my days have been very different, getting up and preparing to go to an event um, but at a typical day when I'm not traveling, it's get up, check emails, see if I have anything from clients that I need to deal with. And then, just really getting involved in the community and, working on presentations. I've got a few I've got to work on Dreamforce, DevOps Dreamin', the Oda Save a Data Forum, North Africa Dreamin'. So those are just a few things coming up.
Not a few things, Melissa. That's a lot of things. Yeah, so my day, Hamza, like Melissa said, is completely different, right? In IBM, I have some clients assigned to me, making sure that I'm working for them. They're aligned, architectural best practices, everything. We are following up, delivery on the time. I am normally involved in the pre-sales deals, helping IBM practice and so on. I am leading a CTA academy in IBM, so trying to build the next workforce of the CTAs. So that's an IBM, but other than IBM, outside most of my days these days are going on helping CTA candidates. So doing a mocks as a part of the gang of four. So I will say each mocks takes around 3 to 4 hours, right? Giving the feedback, listening to them, all the Q&As and everything. So per week, I will say I do around 2 to 3 mocks. Of course, I'm not publishing them a lot because they are not CTA yet, they are not comfortable. But once they become CTA, we slowly release that mark. So a lot of people help me in my journey in CTA, and I think it's my due right now to return the favor back. And I think Melissa is doing similar thing, right? She's working. She has a awesome Slack channel. So those are those are things that I'm doing. Previously, I used to write a blog post, but because of the trailhead, a lot of things are already there. Nothing new is going on. So I have reduced my blog posts, but yeah, I do sometimes YouTube videos, whatever I learn.
Well, that's great. And what do you guys keep up? How do you keep up with all of this, CT learnings and stuff? Because the world is changing too fast. There's a lot of changes coming in on a daily basis. Today we're learning some new technology, and the next day you thought, okay, this has been obsoleted. Now there's a new technology coming up. So how do you how do you take time of it? How do you keep track of it? And what you look forward to learn? It's just that three things. Which one do you pick? What would you think? What's your mentality out of it?
Melissa?
I've really been trying to keep on top of release notes. I really enjoy reading blogs about the top things that are coming in the different releases when the release notes come out, because as you know, they're really long to read. Also, the Slack community, I constantly see candidates posting about things that I didn't know before, or things that are maybe new that weren't part of my CTA learning journey. So the Slack group is a great way to keep on top of things. I go to a lot of events, so I go to other people's sessions when I'm at these events. It's a great way to learn the community events, TDX, Dreamforce, World Tours. Um, and also, what, like Jitendra mentioned, he's attending a lot of mocks and doing a lot of mentorship. I still do a lot of mentorship and attend a lot of mocks, and that's a great way to learn. I mean, that's how I started with my CTA journey. I started judging mocks, and even now judging mocks, you hear candidates talking about things that are newer and things that you didn't study, so it helps you keep on top of things. So yeah, there's a few ways.
And Jitendra?
Yeah, so for me, like I always keep saying I'm a developer at heart, right? So anything that I see, right, where I can have my hands on keyboard, I normally try to keep them up. But along with that, being an IBM and consulting company, I do see what is the trend going on, what is the problem that customers are facing, right? So as you might have seen, Salesforce has been changed a lot, right? I do agree. They have 40 plus certifications. They have 40 plus APs, accredited professional certifications, right? So there was a time 6 7 years back, if you ask me, my motto was to get all the Salesforce certifications. But now I don't think it's humanly possible just to get the certification, because otherwise what would happen is you would be jack of all trade but master of none. Okay, so what I have been doing is seeing what is the trend going on in the market. What I have seen these days is definitely machine learning, AI, marketing cloud a lot, especially the CDP side. So I get my hands. So what I'm doing these days is marketing, Marcom technology coming a lot. Customers are trying to combine all their marketing stuff, right? So I'm focusing that side. Service Cloud Voice is another, right? Anything new that is interesting that could have a demand, I'm going through that. I really like to understand the industry cloud, but I don't think I would be able to go and completely master that until unless I go in that technology. I can do work there. CPQ is another area, right? So those are the few things that I'm reading, and definitely I read a lot of research papers, like what is the outcome, what the world going towards, like neutrality cloud, like net zero cloud that Salesforce renamed. So I know that is going to become pretty big, because governments, regulators, everybody's pushing all the companies that, hey, you guys go and prove that how much carbon neutral you are, right? So those are the trend, and accordingly I just switch. So my life always has been like a water, right? I don't have a straight path. Wherever I find the gap, wherever I see the space, I just flow like that. So right now, CPQ, Service Cloud, and Marcom, these are the three major area where I am focusing.
Okay, great. I can see that many people have started asking questions, and I do have my own list as well. So let's just prioritize them, and we can. I'm planning to meet as well. So Melissa, I'm gonna meet you net North African Dreamin as well. Plus, maybe if you are traveling for the Dreamforce, then here there as well. So let me start with the Aslan question. So Aslan is asking that he has a list of two questions. Okay. So the first one he's asking is comprehensive multi-cloud knowledge necessary for the CTA since since Salesforce is growing with every release? So whoever can answer that is just one of.
Yeah, Melissa, do you want to take it or I can take it?
You can take this one.
Okay. So, so question from Azim, right? Comprehensive multi-cloud knowledge. I will definitely say you need to, first of all, you need to have a breadth of knowledge for the CTA, right? You need to know your stuff, not very detailed. Okay. So, for example, okay, what are the capabilities of particular cloud, right? That you have. You need to know that. Maybe not necessarily you need to know how to implement it. So answer is yes. You need to have a high level knowledge, right? You need to have enough knowledge saying no, we cannot go with that technology. You're saying yes, we can go with that solution, right? So that's definitely needed. Uh, when second question is when you are working with a client who thinks their internal, let me say, I am not able to see the question. Okay,
Is there
when
in a
you're
Q&A?
yeah, whenever who thinks they are internal suspect is an expert and the mostly right and are coming with weak solution. Okay, that's a very typical problem, right? It's not only for the client; it's internal companies as well, right? You have a group of 5, 6 people, right? Even in the CTA mocks, etc. Everybody trying to prove, right? Hey, I'm right, or you are right, or you're not right. So the best solution for those situations is really your presentation skill, your soft skill. CTA exam is just not the technical, right? Your soft skills, simple the fact, hey, these are the 2 or 3 solutions. These are the pros and these are the cons, right? And on the basis of data, it is very clearly understood that solution A is right or solution B is most appropriate. There is always cannot be black and white, right? There are so many consideration, dependency on the company, right? For example, you would really like to go with the ETL and ESB, just an example, but company does not have, let's say, budget, right? They don't have a license, they don't have a time, they don't have a skill set. So those things I will say is mostly solution on the soft skill. If you have a conflict, there are multiple ways to multi-tier to solve it basically. But the most important is very clear pros and cons and very clear data point saying that hey, why solution A is better than solution B. That's how normally I resolve all of my conflict. I try my best, but I really not stick to die. If even after saying that people say no or the leadership takes the decision that hey, we are not going with the solution A, we will go with the solution B, that's their call. But I did my job. I gave them very clear suggestion as an architect that what I think is the right solution.
Okay, great. I think that Atlan, hope you answer you got the answer. The next one is that this is actually for Melissa. So is the Slack your Slack group that you manage is for everyone? So if so, can you please share the link with your group?
Yep, I responded to that. It's on my LinkedIn,
Okay,
but I'll get the link and post it here too.
awesome. Thanks. There's one from Akash is saying, don't want to ask questions, but a little discussion as we have both the CTAs, Melissa and Jitendra. I want to learn more about the common questions you were asked and how we can prepare for the same time. For the same actually. So the most common question that you were asked from you.
Ask you the CTA exam itself or
I don't know, probably
okay.
generic.
Okay. So Melissa, you wanna take this one?
So the common questions you were asked preparing for the CTA review board, is
It
that correct?
seems yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Hmm. Um, I would say going through all the Salesforce scenarios is the best way to prepare, and you'll get a lot of common similar questions as you go through those if you do mocks and then you have Q&A on those. So I can't really think of like the most common ones as it's been a while, but I know the questions I ask are a lot of times more focused on the business process because I hear a lot of technical answers, but I'm not hearing how these technical things are actually being used. And part of what you need to do for the review board is understand how the system is going to be used by the users and effectively communicate that, and then be able to explain the technology that supports it in the most efficient way, the most optimal way. So it's not really a knowledge test. That's, I think, something that people have a misconception about. It's you have to build a knowledge base in order to build the decision making and architect mindset that it takes to be able to look through requirements and make the right decision, and then properly communicate that and communicate how that is actually going to be used to meet the business requirements and support the users, if that makes sense. That's the best way I can explain it.
A good one. And anything want to add, Jitendra, here on this
No,
question?
yeah, definitely, right. I also had that feedback, right? Because mostly, if someone is coming from the technical background, right, we always think in the terms of zeros and ones. We always think in terms of the trigger, apex, right? Those are the alien words, right? Even though what you are thinking is the right, but how you're communicating that, how you're telling the story, how you're articulating it, how you're connecting your technical solution with the business process, like Melissa said, that is extremely important aspect of CTA, right? And one thing, right, Akash, so so few people, or I will say sometimes I saw the comment, hey, being a technical, it's easy to crack a CTA. Sometimes I hear, hey, being a solution architect is easy to crack a CTA. So let me put a perspective here. Everyone who's trying to prepare for CTA has something to run for, right? There is not a straight path. Not everybody is already there. If you are coming from the business, you are lacking the technical piece. If you are coming from the technical piece, right, you are missing the business terms, you are missing the communication, right? And if you're excellent in communication, then you might be missing in the admin piece or the technical piece. So you're like in center, and you, in order to become a CTA, you have to have a balance of everything: soft communication, communication skills, storytelling, capabilities, technical capability, what can be done with low code or pro code, right? Those kind of things everybody needs to know. So I will simply say CTA is not easy for any of the people, or at the same time, I will also say it's not tough, it's not impossible. The one thing, in order for anyone to become a CTA, in my personal opinion, is really the consistency, right? Uh, I know so many architects, right, in IBM, outside IBM, in community, they are excellent architects. But the reason they might not be the CTA, because they are not able to commit that amount of time that is needed for the CTA, right? They might be excellent in pre-sales. You put them in front of client, and they will sell to the client your solution, right? But that's the thing. In order to become a CTA, you have to follow the path. You have to have a dedicated time. You have to have commitment from your family, saying that, hey, I am embarking on this journey for next 1 year, 1.5 year. Our weekends would be spoiled. I would not be able to give you time. Weekdays, I would be working for office, but in the evening time, again, I would be working for my CTA preparation and so on. So that's a commitment. If anybody is trying to go on that path, they really need to understand where they are going for. And the most importantly, you need someone, accountability partner or something, who can keep you motivated. It's a long journey. It's a journey around 12 months to 18 months on average. It is very easy to go distracted. It is very easy to say, hey, I will pause my journey for 2 weeks and I will start after 2 weeks because I have something to do. That 2 weeks become 4 months if you don't have a right person to push you for. Yeah. So that's all I would like to say, Hamza. You're on mute.
Sorry, can you hear me? Okay, now. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I was on mute. Yeah, no, that's really wonderful. Wonderful. I think that this is the maximum detailed answer you can give. There's another one is that from Aditya is that, is it true that architects needs to have an understanding of certain business analysis tools and techniques? If yes, then why?
I'll say yes because it helps you to understand business process. So something that I got really good with was process mapping and journey mapping. And I really evangelize that to anyone that's going on the CTA path, because it helps you piece together requirements of solutions to create holistic um, architectures. So it helps you understand the story. It helps you understand the user journey. It helps you understand the personas and be able to really segregate them and understand how the different processes relate to each other to come up with an underlying solution that will properly support everything. And it helps you find the gaps. So the biggest business analysis tool I would say is the process mapping and journey mapping. And you don't have to do it in the board. It's not something you have to do as an architect, but when you are given these process and journey maps, it helps you understand, oh, okay, now I can more easily solution based on this. And it helps your mind, it helps train your mind to think in those terms and think that way. And it was the biggest impact in my journey. Once I started doing it, it just made a huge difference. And that's when I really had a turning point in how I could solution and how I could present.
Yeah. And just to add to what Melissa said, that was a one artifact that I had that I did not present it to the judge. But that artifact helped me in my board review, trying to tie up all the loose end and the requirements. So I had one artifact which will walk through all the process and everything. Hey, this process, these are the tools happening, these are the customization, these are the flow. So in a 5 minute, I had a break before my presentation, I was really able to replay in my mind that okay, what the solution, what the question was, what the 10-12 pages of the scenario was, right? And also other than the CTA, right, like Melissa said, it really important uh, to run your workshops, right? Maybe the architects are not responsible to own the whole workshop, maybe the consultants are running, but the role of architect, they are leader in any program. They are there kind of the glue between the BA, developer, consultant, and the business, trying to make a sense of what we are trying to do. And definitely other than the tools that Melissa you said, from the technology side, right, there are multiple ways we can do it. You can use like the old school papers and different colors. You can use something like mural, right? So those are the few tools you can definitely use. Draw the process mapping, journey mapping, and help your customer explaining, right, what you are thinking. And it really helps you to identify the edge cases, uh, gaps in the requirement. Steve Jobs said very good statement that I really love today till today is customers don't know what they want until and unless you show them. And these are the few tools, right, that will help customer to poke hole in their own business process itself. Oh, I didn't know that. I go in the workshops, and when we do this, I see very frequently from they talk internally and they say, I didn't know that we do this. Hey, why we are not doing that? You put in front of them, do you automatically get an answer from them?
That's great. The next one is from Pei, as she's asking, we frequently hear that emotional intelligence defines a true leader. Do you believe that the CTA journey helps filter non-leaders out? Do they focus too much on tech competency? Or is it a gap in identifying competency in this very crucial human aspect of solving for complex technical problems for organization? I mean, if it's too long, you can read that through the Q&A.
Melissa, can you take on that one?
Yeah, I do believe that that is something they're looking for in the review board. They're really looking for a mindset and definitely ability to hold up to pressure and be able to handle taking tough questions and being challenged. And I believe that takes emotional intelligence. And that's something I had to build through the process. You have to go through some very challenging mocks, right? And that really helps you to build that emotional intelligence and build your ability to handle a Q&A. As Jitendra knows, I've had some really tough Q&As through my preparation for my board, but I always knew that it was helping my growth and helping me to get to a point where I could really handle the pressure more. So you go through these kind of like trial by fire so that when you get there, you're like, oh, I've had worse than this before. This is nothing. I can handle this. So Yeah, it really does take that emotional intelligence to pass the board, I believe, and that just takes practice for some people.
And Melissa, to your point, it's not only the CTA board, it's the whole preparation.
Yep.
When you are doing the mock in front of either your colleagues or friends or the CTA, you would really feel like you are just hit by a truck. So much pressure on the brain that you go in the mock thinking you are the best, you got it covered. There is no one in the world who can poke the problem in the solution, and then suddenly the Panthora box opens up, right? Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's really a kind of the situation. It will really help you to train your mind. Uh, you might have heard this, and I will repeat it again from the multiple CTA. Badge is definitely good. Everybody's looking for the CTA certification, but what I personally feel is this journey, the whole going through the grilling process, really makes you what you are. I mean, you by default gets that certification. Once I got a certification, I was not really much surprised that, oh, now I got a certification after two attempts, or my third attempt after 2 years, because I have been through a lot, right? I appeared, failed completely. I appeared, had the section retake. And over the period, you do around 100 marks, give or take, right? A completely different experience. You always have a argument with your study buddies, right? So you are four people in the room, you're discussing a solution, heated argument, right? Why this is right? No, why I am right? No, why you are not right, right? That kind of the communication and the challenge, right? That's very important. That really gives you an opportunity and make you a better architect, right? When you wait before starting the whole journey itself.
Uh, Wise words. I mean, it's not the badge; it's just the journey that makes you a CTA. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yep. Yep, completely agree with that. And it's the journey made me much better at what I do as well.
Great. There's one more is that considerations of flows versus trigger as an architect when you're working on a big implementation in terms of complexity. Oh, yeah. So flow and trigger, actually, you missed the one session that with the Salesforce developer. You're probably asking this question with them. But let's just say, if let's just see if these two gentlemen wants to, I mean, these wants to get this question.
Yeah,
You wanna-
maybe I can try to take the first step, right, and then Melissa can share her view. So I know, right, that Salesforce, everybody say blindly go for the flow, right? Flow is definitely a good tool, right? But really, is it going to be the solution for the flow or trigger? You have to think pros and cons, right? My opinion, yes, flow is extremely fast if you have a simple use case, or I will say a little bit medium complex. But imagine you have flow in front of you, right? Set of screens, set of components, right? And then you have a 10 different subflows going through that one subflow. Because being a consultant, I have seen those. Being a consultant, I have seen a flow with almost 30 plus component and 10 plus subflows. And when the time comes to change the logic, people get scared. Okay, who knows where what went wrong? So the point I'm trying to make here is flow is definitely a good tool to have, but you really need to understand if you can write a simple apex and trigger less than 100 line of code, which would help you in future debugging rather than just going blindly saying that flow is the best practice and I will do everything in the flow. I don't think that is the right approach. You really need to understand the complexities if the flow becomes how you're going to debug. Are you going to have a right skill set? And so many factors depends on that. Performance wise, I will say doesn't matter you go with the flow or you go with the trigger. If you are not following the best practice, flow will also not save you and the trigger will also not save you. So both have their own best practices. You have to follow them, but at the same time you need to have a right decision and the skill set. What I do, I think maybe 1 year in the future, I ask client a question. Hey, do you think something's gonna change in this? Yes, change is constant, change would happen. How much change is gonna happen? I start with a small flow and that becomes a huge. I will maybe not recommend flow at all if it saves the complexity. I will go always for the trigger or apex or something.
Yep, I always say it's not one versus the other, but understanding when to use one versus the other, what the pros and cons are, like Jitendra said, and then how to make them work together properly.
Okay, so let's see what other we have here. Okay, I will take one question. So one question that is asked anonymous from someone that, hey, I am having a 1+ years of experience in Salesforce. What advice would you like to give me in order to excel in a career? Right. I will give you one or two advice, Melissa, if you would like to share. So first and foremost advice I will give you is get your fundamentals right. Okay, I think in the previous call itself, we were on the Mohit, and Mohit and Julian said the same thing. There is no shortcut to the success. If you really try to have 6 certification in a month or 6 certificate in 2 weeks, maybe you can do after 6 or 7 years of experience, but don't run behind the certifications or badges. Get your fundamentals clear. Get your JavaScript straight if you are in the dev side. Get your OOPS concept straight, right? Second is Salesforce is a platform, right, that keeps changing 3 times in a year. Make sure you're not rigid. You're not always I learned done. That's not going to happen in the Salesforce ecosystem. You have to keep innovating yourself, right? The third advice that I will give you is reading a blog or reading a Trailhead module would not help you until unless you try to do it. Create a simple flow, create a simple trigger, create a simple Lightning Web component or a component. If you do it, the satisfaction that you will get, and while building the errors that you are going to face, if you face the 10 errors, next time you will never face that error. And let me share a story of my life, right? I will just take 2 minutes here. I was in third year in my engineering. I was one of the brightest student there. I will always do all my data structure projects and the coding in the first go. I never got a compiler error. Now it's exam time. Okay. I got an error. I failed my exam, right? Just because I never got that error before in my 6 month of tenure. I did 6 month coding. I did not got that error, but final exam when I got, I didn't know how to do it. So really the failure and the error is a part of your learning and very, very, very important. If you face error upfront, you know how to resolve it. But if you face error later, you will not know at all. That's the reason. Do it, you will understand it, right? You read it, you will just have a half knowledge. That is the 3 advice I will give.
That's very wise advice. And thank you so much for getting it. That's that question. I don't know what happened on my keyboard was not working. I was not able to
That's fine.
unmute myself. Actually, this is time already, and I know that many people are willing to ask more of the questions. So I'm sorry, we have to have a hard stop. So thank you so much, Jitendra and Melissa, for joining us. And it was amazing. I mean, I know many people who would have all the answers that you've given, all the wise advices that you've given, would definitely help all of us in our career. And thank you so much for giving, I mean, the what you do whatever you do, I mean, giving back to the community, learning more and sharing, helping others, becoming a CTA. That's a wonderful job that you're good doing. Maybe I'm looking forward to do something similar in the future, for myself. Thank you so much for being so, the mentor, the inspiration for many.
Yeah, and
So thank.
yeah, thanks Hamza. And team, reach out to me, reach out to Melissa. We are open, right? Reach out to us on the LinkedIn, Twitter. We are here to help you. Right? So many people helped us, and we are here to help you. Don't hesitate to reach out and ask any question. Okay. And thanks, Melissa. Thanks, Hamza. Nice seeing you all.
Looking forward
Thanks,
to meet you guys
Jitendra.
in person back again.
Yes,
Sure.
thanks for having us. Hopefully, we'll see you soon.
All right, bye. I'm just gonna quickly run the raffle. So yeah, you can leave if you want. I'm just gonna go, and then we'll go back to the ceremony session.